My sister has no idea I've been reborn. She still insists, just like in my past life, that I choose a fiancé first, pretending to be thoughtful and considerate. However, this time, I refused. In my previous life, I Novelli believed she meant well. I married the man she recommended, Chester Kane, an heir who was said to have been paralyzed after an ambush. I gave up my right to inherit the family, becoming his caretaker, his crutch, the medicine he used to fight loneliness. However, no matter how much warmth I gave him, his heart remained frozen. The truth only came out during my sister's pregnancy celebration, when an assassin from a rival family raised his gun toward her belly. The man who had not stood in years suddenly rose to his feet. He shoved me toward the muzzle of the gun. All 7 bullets tore into my womb. As I collapsed, I saw him pull my sister into his arms, shielding her with his own body and taking the final shot for her. Only then did I understand. He had never been paralyzed. His family had never abandoned him. He pretended to be sick because Juliana's heart belonged to another man, and he refused to be tied to me. "I'm sorry, Tanya," he said. "I lied to you. However, I couldn't let Juliana lose the heir she's carrying. I'll repay what I owe you in our next life." When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my father asked us to choose our marriage partners. "Go ahead, sis. You pick first. You're the delicate one, and you need a strong family to have your back." Juliana Larson forced a sweet tone, playing the caring sister just like she did in her previous life. However, her eyes betrayed her, locking onto Seth Rogers, the Rogers family heir, with an affection she could not hide. The word in the mafia circles was that she and Seth had been secretly tangled up for ages. Dad would definitely keep Seth for her. That was why I laughed when Dad asked me who I wanted. Since Juliana is so thoughtful, I won't hold back. I'll take Seth. What? Juliana's smile disappeared as her eyes welled up with tears. "Tanya, you're well aware of my relationship with Seth." Chester's head snapped up, his eyes widening in shock. Then, my father's hand struck my face with a force that echoed through the room. "Look at yourself. Seth is the heir to the Rogers family. Do you really think someone like you, an illegitimate daughter, could marry him? You know he's fond of your sister, yet you choose him on purpose. Are you trying to drive your sister to her grave?" Blood trickled from the corner of my mouth, yet I could not help but smile. "Father, if you've already decided, why pretend I have a say? Are you worried about being called unfair?" Juliana's lashes quivered as her tears fell in a perfectly timed cascade. "Tanya, don't say that. Father loves you too. How can you accuse him so unjustly?" Amid our quarrel, Chester, confined to his wheelchair, suddenly braced himself on the armrest and stood up. "Don Larson, I propose a business transaction. I'm aware that your arms dealings have hit a rough patch. I'm willing to invest $5 million to assist you, with one condition. You give me your eldest daughter, Juliana's hand in marriage." I glared at Chester, my heart ablaze with disbelief. I never imagined that he, who had pretended to be paralyzed for so long, would choose that moment to stand. He caught my stare, a flicker of remorse in his eyes, before he looked away. My heart skipped a beat. He too had been reborn. The moment my father heard the offer of money, his rage vanished, replaced by a gleam of greed in his eyes. He had set his sights on marrying off his daughters to strengthen the family ties. There was no way he would pass up such a golden opportunity. Besides, the Canes were a force to be reckoned with, far outstripping the Rogers. It was a stroke of luck that they were interested in Juliana. "Fine," Dad said, not missing a beat. "If Chester's head over heels for Juliana, then Tanya, you'll marry Seth." Seth shot to his feet. He sneered with disgust. "You think I'd marry you, Tanya? Come on, look in the mirror. You don't hold a candle to Juliana. Don't make a fool of yourself." Dad's face turned stormy in an instant. "What's that supposed to mean, Seth?" he demanded, voice like ice. "Our families have been tight for ages. My daughter's too good for you? Are you trying to wreck everything?" A look of scorn crossed Seth's eyes. "Forgive me, Don Larson. However, I'm set on Juliana and no one else. Marrying Tanya? I'd rather die." Juliana turned to me, her face a mask of regret, but her lips twitched with a hidden smirk. "Seth, remember my sister risked her health to save you. Even if she's not your favorite, show her some compassion," she cooed, tapping Seth's shoulder with feigned sweetness. Seth's eyes warmed as he looked at my sister, Juliana. "I'll never forget that day. If you hadn't realized we were missing and told Dad in time, I'd be 6 feet under by now. You're my hero, Juliana." He then shot me a venomous look. "If you hadn't stuck around, playing the 'I saved your life' card, I would have made Juliana my wife a long time ago." A smug smile crept onto Juliana's face, but she quickly hid it by snuggling into Seth's arms. I bit back my anger and said icily, "If my dear sister loves Seth so much, yet can't stop mooning over Chester, maybe she should just marry them both." Juliana's face turned beet red, like I would hit a nerve. "Tanya, how can you say such a thing? If they both married me, who'd even look your way? What if I told you I don't want either of them?" I rose slowly, my voice steady. Dad's grip tightened, and the wine glass shattered in his hand. "That's enough. You're a woman of this family. Your job is to marry well and boost our influence. You think you have a choice?" I held his stare, unwavering. "I'm aware our business in New Cordova has been tanking for 3 months. I'll go there, expand our market, and pull us out of this mess." Thanks to Seth's backing, Dad finally caved to my request. I wiped Chester's number from my phone and hopped on a flight to New Cordova. The family business there acted like I was invisible, just another Juliana's shadow. However, I did not let it faze me. I let my work do the talking. Back in the day, I was too caught up in Chester's orbit to see my own knack for sealing deals. It did not take long after landing in New Cordova to lock down a big arms deal that had been on ice for ages, showing them all what I was made of. For the first time, the old guard looked at me with something like respect, and my name started to mean something. I had been done being Juliana's sidekick. Out of the blue, my dad, who had practically written me off, decided to give me a ring. However, when I picked up, all I got was an earful of yelling. "Tanya, do you really think that growing up gives you the right to turn your back on your family? The anniversary of your mother's death is just around the corner. Why aren't you coming home?" My mother was always the one I held closest to my heart. I had booked my ticket to return and honor her memory well in advance. On the anniversary of my mother's passing, Juliana was there waiting for me. Her smile was warm, but her eyes betrayed a thick layer of envy. "Tanya, you've been pushing yourself so hard in New Cordova. However, However, a decent woman shouldn't be mingling with drug lords and hired guns. Rumors are flying that you're making a living on your back. You've disgraced Dad and stained our family's honor. Her eyes then darted to Chester, standing beside me as if she had just had an epiphany. Now I see. All your efforts are just a ploy to snag a man's attention. That's why Dad sent me to tell you he's already picked out a fiance for you. Starting tomorrow, you can forget about New Cordova. I'll be taking over there. It's time you stopped using those tactics that tarnish our family name. I kept my face blank, but inside, a wave of serenity washed over me. I worked for those contracts. You wouldn't know the first thing about them. And you expect me to just hand them over? Why should I? You really can't handle it now that I'm no longer your backdrop. Don't even think about snatching what's mine. I owe you nothing. Juliana had not seen my rejection coming. She shuddered, her eyes flickering with shock. However, she was quick to regain her composure, her tears and sobs returning. Tanya, I'm only thinking of you. How could you accuse me like this? I know you've always resented me for being the better one, but I only wanted to spare you the hardship. I had no patience left for her drama. I turned on my heel and walked away. Chester's grip was sudden and fierce as he caught me by the arm. This is too much, he said. I looked at his protective stance and smiled bitterly, though it was small enough. Say you're sorry to Juliana. He was still the same, domineering, unapologetic, forcing me to meet his eyes by tilting my chin up. I broke free from his grasp, finger by finger, and stepped back. Enough with the hero act, Mr. Savior. I don't need your drama, not here by my mother's grave. His hand hung in the air, motionless, as my cool defiance left him speechless. He probably never imagined I could look at him with such detachment. You. His voice was a raspy shadow of itself. I turned away, gathered my things, and left for New Cordova that night. However, before I could even get on the plane, Seth and Chester cornered me. Seth's grip on my neck was tight, his eyes wild with rage. You did this, he bellowed. Juliana tried to make a name for herself at the casino last night, got played, and lost everything. They're even talking about selling her off to settle her debts. She's stuck there now, and you're not going anywhere until we get her back. As we headed to the casino, Chester sighed. I know, you were reborn too. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Reborn or not, what difference does it make? Are you going to start playing favorites now? I'm sorry, he murmured, almost inaudible. I just shook my head, at a loss for words. Chester, is that all you've got after all this time? Out of nowhere, he pulled me close and kissed me senselessly. Tanya, he whispered, his forehead resting gently against mine, his voice a solemn vow. I promise, this is the last time you'll have to go through anything like this. We're just hitting the casino, dropping some cash to get your sister out of trouble. You'll be okay. And after that, I'll make you my wife. I'll spend every day making it up to you. I tried to smile, but my voice came out raspy. Chester, just one last question for you. Don't you see she's just playing us for attention? Chester paused, his eyes darting away from mine. I don't know. Not knowing, or just playing dumb? Ridiculous. They all knew her game, yet I was shoved into the line of fire once more. Casino's VIP room was a world apart, dimly lit and muffled from the chaos outside by thick curtains. A mountain of debt slips and contract copies lay scattered across the gambling table. Juliana was a mess, tied to a couch by the window, her makeup ruined by tears, her eyes wild with fear and begging. Seth bolted to her side, his voice shaking. Juliana, are you okay? Hey, no one said you two could talk. The casino manager cut in, snapping his fingers. His goon stepped up, blocking Seth. Cut the crap. Pay up, or we'll take payment out of her hide. Chester's fists tightened. Through gritted teeth, he asked, how much is she in for? $1 billion. It's all there in black and white, with your family's name on it. Not a penny less, said the manager, a cruel smile on his lips as he tapped the papers. Seth gasped. That much? They would never come up with that kind of money on the spot. At that moment, something in Seth snapped. He glanced from the damning pile of papers to me, a hint of madness creeping into his gaze. Tanya, too, is a Larson girl. Can't she just take Juliana's place? I froze. In that instant, all eyes were on me. What nonsense are you spouting? Chester's voice rumbled low. Seth scoffed as if it was the most natural thing in the world. If Tanya hadn't gone out of her way to shame Juliana, do you think she'd have stormed off to this place? Juliana's the innocent one here. It's only fair that Tanya stays. No sooner had he spoken than the casino manager chuckled. Well, that's interesting. If she's a Larson, that works too. She looks healthy. Her womb would sell for a higher price. Chester's face twisted in anger. Absolutely not. However, Juliana's cries tore through the room. Chester, I can't die. Please, you have to save me. Chester's resolve flickered. His hands balled into fists. At last, he turned to me, his voice careful, almost pleading. Tanya, you don't want to see your sister get hurt. Just stay put, okay? I'll go back, get the money, and I'll come for you as fast as I can. It was as if my blood turned to ice, and a twisted smile, more grotesque than any sob, crept onto my face. Chester, are you serious? You're going to leave me here to take her back? In Chester's eyes I saw a storm of guilt, struggle, and a conflict so profound it seemed bottomless. Tanya, he whispered, I'll come back for you. That's a promise. Seth's frown was like a line etched in stone. His voice brooked no argument. What's the big deal? You just have to wait for us to get the money together. Juliana's been waiting, so why can't you? Could Juliana hold out for a hero? What was left for me to hope for? As the goons held me down, I clung to Chester's wrist with the last ounce of my strength. Chester, are you really going to stand by and watch me lose my womb again? He reached out, as if to save me. However, Juliana lunged, breaking his grasp and tearing my hand away. Chester, I was terrified. Let's just go home. I can't bear another second here. The conflict in his eyes vanished as he took Juliana's hand. I know it's not fair to you, but Juliana can't lose her chance at motherhood. She's always dreamed of having her child. I could not help but smirk. So, you sacrifice me instead? You'll be okay, he said quickly, maybe to convince himself. I'll get the money, and once you're out, we'll get married right away. The door slammed shut behind them, and the room fell silent once more. The debt papers vanished from the table, replaced by 2 flutes of champagne. I gestured, and the soldiers, disguised as thugs, respectfully backed away. Any sign of my earlier vulnerability was gone, replaced by an icy resolve. Keep the plan moving, I commanded. The soldier nodded, took the family ring I handed him, and crushed the chip that monitored vital signs. The message "Tanya is dead" would soon echo through the family ranks. The casino manager toasted me with a knowing smile. Looking forward to working together, Lady Queen. From that moment, Tanya ceased to exist. In her place stood a revenger, ready to strike fear into their hearts.